Hello, everyone. When you come to understand your own inner reality, you are full of capabilities. Thus, teaches the planet Pluto that how we should strive towards our own personal excellence. Now, Pluto Retrograde 2023 began on May 1st and will keep back spinning till October 10th, giving us a full 5 months to introspect, review, and perhaps restructure our life and its situations in a more constructive and productive way. The past year, we have been delving a lot internally, recognizing or feeling the red flags in our life. We desperately want our life to take on a more meaningful path, a path that gives us serenity and happiness. Now, Pluto is the most distant planet from the Earth, so the effects of its backspin tend to impact us on a collective level. The effects of this dwarf planet is more potent when it is spinning backward or going retrograde than when its momentum is forward. So the steps we take now in the next 5 months not only benefit us, but also the world around us. And that is exactly what this age of Aquarius demands from us. Do unto others as you would like to be done to yourself. What flows out is what you receive back. The fact of life is that Pluto insists on building a strength of mind and adopting the new norms of life. So when you come to understand your own inner realities, you are full of capabilities. Now, Pluto personally is integral, as this potent planet helps us venture into the deepest parts of our minds and hearts. So the retrograde influences our understanding profoundly in order to resolve the issues we are or were faced with. This dwarf planet is so powerful that if we are unable to clear our debris or our issues and face our fears, the circumstances thus created forces us to start from a scratch by releasing our burdens and facing the truth. It makes us realize the tremendous potential we possess in order to release our fears and manifest the life to the best of our ability, needs, and desires. It's like when any weak living being is cornered and has no choice but to revert back and attack. Or when we feel we have hit the rock bottom, the only way left is to rise up, for we have no other way. This planet's energies are very forceful that they are capable of igniting the fire within and bringing out the hidden strength to solve or change the prevailing circumstances. Now, as the planet that rules the depth, alchemy, and all things subterranean in nature, much of Pluto's work in astrology takes place beneath the surface, meaning that its retrograde periods generally are not as outwardly disruptive to our daily lives as some of the other planets are. However, the Pluto transits can still have a powerful rippling effect on our reality, slowly shifting the foundations of our innermost psyches and society at large until something emerges completely anew. Now, Pluto retrograde is subtle, working quietly in the background to revamp and rewire all that's going on above ground. So the awareness helps us rise as phoenix from the ashes. It's a known process that the planets are energy regulators and all things animate or inanimate are affected by the energies in the universe. Ancient yoga speaks of the chakras or energy center within each person, and many esoteric schools of thought have correlated various chakras with planets. This is because the planets are related to us by the same vibratory energy waves which are latent within us and to which we respond. So the sign that a particular planet is in reveals the attunement or the requirement of that energy wave or force within us. So after 200 years, Pluto recently entered Aquarius and it's been activating the critical first degree of this air signs since March 23, quietly ushering in a new era of transformation. The universal intelligence encourages us to think new. But just as Pluto's magic takes time to materialize, so will its full transition into Aquarius. But presently, at the moment, from May 1st, 2023, Pluto began its retrograde. So the Pluto retrograde 2023 finds the planet retracing its steps right back into early Capricorn. So till June 11th, it is actually hovering over the sensitive cusp of these two signs, the Aquarius and Capricorn. Now, Pluto has spent the past 15 years in Capricorn, and this retrograde cycle will ensure we've truly learned our Pluto's lessons in Capricorn and are ready to explore a new part of ourselves. This also implies that normally a human mind or a human being keeps falling back into old habits or patterns, which is the reason for his or her peril. So it's important to move forward and transform yourself by leaving the past habits or thought processes and be encouraged to adopt and adapt new forms. This is the first of two Pluto retrogrades that will oscillate over the cusp of Aquarius and Capricorn before Pluto finally leaves the sign of the mountain goat behind in late 2024. However, this backspin has its own unique flavor. Throughout this retrograde, Pluto will be in a tight square with the north and south nodes of destiny, an aspect that peaks on July 28th but colors the entire transit. This catalyzes a collective experience of evolution, challenging us to push our fear based limitations behind. Now, Pluto will also continue harmonizing with spiritual Neptune throughout this retrograde, reminding us that we can trust our intuitive senses. Now, Pluto has already started its retrograde from May 1st and it lasts till October 10th. By June 11th, it re enters Capricorn completely. So, Pluto also makes some other significant planetary connections throughout its 2023 retrograde. The backspin kicks off with an action packed T square involving the excess loving Jupiter and action oriented Mars. This three-way cosmic squabble invigorates our drive towards ambition and abundance. Just make sure you don't go overboard in your quest for success. Remember, success is a process, it's a journey. So you've got to have your goals correct. You need to balance your passions, visions of grandeur, and master plans. In July, both Mercury and the Sun will face off with Pluto retrograde, revealing hidden information and prompting some potentially uncomfortable inner reflection. But by the time we hit the final weeks of the retrograde in late September and October, these two planets will be harmonizing with Pluto, bringing solutions and clarity to the identity crisis and information or clues that stirred up the crisis earlier on or in the past months. In ancient times, especially in Vedas, the planets symbolized gods and hence were worshipped. So actually, what it meant was that these fundamental forces cannot be ignored as it's a divine universal intelligence which helps the organic on earth to think correctly. And when an individual ignores the omens, they tend to invite their own peril. So the energies of these planets in a particular sign should be recognized and paid due attention with acceptance. Then the energy inherent can be consciously directed to our advantage. So when we are not aware of these forces in our lives, then we are at the mercy of them. So the great sin for the Greeks, if you remember, was hybris, which indicated that an individual had the audacity and foolish pride to ignore the god's message in some way. So naturally, the gods, that is the nemesis, which is explosion of pent-up forces that were refused a proper channel, followed inevitably. Hence, when we say, I meet my nemesis when I don't learn my lessons, or I meet my nemesis when I don't change so and so habit of mine. That is Pluto, who makes you learn and clears your path, giving you opportunities to rise once again. So you don't have to fear or feel anxious about Pluto. In fact, embrace and try to work on the energies that Pluto implies. So, till you understand all about Pluto and its retrograde, stay tuned for my video where I will endeavor to explain what cautions or what new norms each zodiac needs to adopt and adapt. So, till my next, stay blessed.